And the results indicate that a large proportion, 27.3% of apprentices have experienced workplace bullying.
Yes.
20% experienced severe bullying.
Yep.
And then, you know, I just went, I shouldn't be surprised in a way, but do you want to put any more context around that in those particular results? Or?
Yes, I do. I want to start in a different place, Michael, because I think it's important that we, again, I don't want to knock my industry. I love my industry. It's a great place to work. It's right. We went out to all apprentices. All apprentices in Queensland got the opportunity to enter, and 1,700 participated, and 1,400 were qualified to be part of the sample, which make it a very large sample. So in terms of statistical significance and certainty, it's a very precise sample because of the size of it. The first thing to say is most of the apprentices that responded were really well. Most of the apprentices, more than 76% of the apprentices felt that they were well supervised. More than 70% of them felt that they were well respected by their employers, that they were listened to, and they were respected as a person. So I think that when we talk about this statistics, we have to be careful. We'd say we are talking about a minority. It's a significant minority. It's a worrying minority. But by far, most employers are actually doing a good job and are quite pastoral and looking after their apprentices. So because otherwise we start ending up, this becomes an exercise of beating ourselves up, and I don't want to be part of it. I want to be part of actually getting improvement. Now, that being said, firstly, we have actually discovered there's a slight mistake in the report, and that is it's not 27%, it's actually 30% of offenders that have been bullied. But that was, it was discovered by some sort of, but that's often the case. And what is really most concerning about this is it actually backs up what we know in terms of suicide rates. So what we know consistently from two large studies we've done in the past is that our youngest workers have almost twice the suicide rates as other young employed men in Australia. So what we are talking about here is not an academic exercise of statistics. It is actually something that is a matter of life and death and pain for families on an ongoing basis in our industry, and we really need to ground it in that, because otherwise I do not think we do it justice. 30% of them have been bullied, 20% of them have been systematically bullied. More than 30% of the apprentices had suicidal thought within the last 12 months. The background of that is about 5%. We expect 5% of the population to have a suicidal thought over a 12-month period, 30% of our cohort, which really tells us that we have an issue we need to slap ourselves and wake up to. We looked at in terms of mental well-being. So we measured the apprentices by two measures. Firstly, we measured their well-being, and we then measured their levels of psychological distress. So one of them is a positive measure, the other one is a negative measure. When we came with a positive measure, the WHO-5, we found that 30% of the apprentices scored so low when it came to mental well-being that it would indicate depression. And we found that 13% of the apprentices scored so high when it came to psychological distress that it would indicate severe mental illness. We have an issue amongst our young workers, and as an industry, we must wake up to it and we must act. And this report cannot just be a report that was interested and we then file it under A in the filing cabinet for apprentice. This actually must become a live document, and I think that this document is perhaps as significant as the AISRAP report that was delivered in 2006 that became the start for major construction. I think that if we in 10 years' time do not look back at this apprentice report and say, this was a call to action and we acted on it and things have changed, then we as an industry should be condemned for it.